Okay, now we're getting to this, the Hammerhead Corvette from Rogue One, primarily from Rogue One, though it's been seen at other Star Wars sources. But I've already gone into the thoughts of what I need to modify and what I've modified. Maybe what I haven't showed since was the blasters here. Let me just get a closer look. I tried to make them. Basically, from looking at the pictures, the turrets basically have like a twin almost cannon, but it's not. It's basically it's the main one cannon, but then it has like a smaller kind of barrel or antenna or something like below it, similar to the front. Have you ever seen the front? The way the front cannons are, it has like this main firing, and then there's like an under barrel or something of some sort, something like that, right? Whatever. But that's what I try to mimic here, and basically I believe it should be similar to that. Again, it's hard to tell from the pictures. They do look slightly smaller, but whatever. I'm going with Lego parts and scales, and within those constraints. And so, as is, let's see here. Zoom up properly. I just try to recreate those, and the outer ones are longer than the inner ones from what I can tell, so that's what I did. These might be a bit larger than proportionately it is on the real thing, but it'll do. Otherwise, I have these other parts before I was using was basically a single cannon, which could work, but I didn't feel that it looked quite right. So anyways, these, as you look closely, it's not exactly the same parts. I basically used like I forget what the length is, but one of these gray bars. And I got a bunch of them, and I just custom cut it to this basically approximate same length as what's going on here. But you see that I actually have a different kind of piece to make the barrel on the top part. It has this extra, I don't know, piece right here, like this collar, whatever you want to call it, and then this, the skinny part extends in there. But anyways, that's just a little added thing. But I didn't want to specifically, after I had ordered these, I didn't want to specifically look for that. I figured this would be close enough to what I'm trying to replicate and create here. So that's what I did. So I did them for here on the bottom, and of course on the opposite side. And then there's a twin cannon here, but then they should be the same length. So basically I just made it the same, like longer length here on both of them. And I think that's all the updates I've done since the last time I did a video on this. So I have some thoughts on modifying some things here. One is this needed to have more detail on the bottom. It's just a bit too plain. And I reworked this a little bit, and then I added this piece here, because if you look at the ship, there is this extra like structure, this line here, and then it kind of goes back, and that goes into the fact that this bottom part between the main fuselage and the engine here should be thicker. It's a little bit on the thin side. It's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, it should be thicker, actually quite a bit. So it should be almost as thick as where this is now. So that being said, I need to add detail. This is going to be the part approximately that's going to replace right inside this area, and I have to add a plate and some other things to basically make it work. But and then this, I believe, could attach to this underside here. Makes it look like, yeah. I got to take a look at the pictures. I may or may not use it, but I have it out just in case. And so yeah, there should be another set of grill pieces here, but I don't have that. But I should have them now in here. Not gray. I got them in white. At least I should. Unless I ordered the wrong damn thing. No, I see some, so I just need a couple to add here. And then these should also be all white too. Although I may make this disc that's dark gray in here, the light one. Maybe just to add a little slight contrast in color. So yeah, and so that's gonna go there. And that should just, you can see, it's just too plain. And if you look at the photo, there's definitely like this kind of circular thing that's back here, and then some greebling that kind of goes forward of that. But there's only so much I can work with in this area, so the best thing I can do is do some grill pieces to kind of simulate that, but I think that'll be sufficient. Next is the neck area, namely this part just after the main bridge area, right? Command center, whatever you call it. This is not correct. It should have like a piece that's kind of like a little edge or wing or something that kind of comes out here and angles inwards back in there. So I figure I'd do something like this, and it'll come out like that. That's what it should do. So yeah, and I'll be lined up right about here in the middle, and so I'll have to remove these and then probably get some shorter pieces, probably some of these, but flip the other way so that they fill in the bottom half, and then this will be up here, and I think that should be about right. One more and if I didn't know, if I wasn't done yet, I kept looking at this area with the escape pods, and I got them. These need to be replaced as white because they're not really gray. So that's one thing, because I wanted to use those other, like these guys. This would have been the perfect shape, but they're too wide on the bottom, and you need to really space them out like this, and I don't have that kind of spacing on here. It's a pretty small area if you look on the actual reference materials. This is approximately the right proportion, so I can't really spread these out anymore. I mean, it'd be way too spread out and wide of a piece like that to get those. So I'm gonna stick with these, but make them white, and they will do. They'll simulate the escape pods enough. However, I just kept looking. I was like, something's not right, and the thing is, this is just a little too thick, and this part's too high up top. This hangs because I'm using this as a reference along with the neck, but this piece tends to match up basically with this here, and there shouldn't be anything above this area up here. So this is too much here, so I'm going to remove that and flatten it out. And it's tough because there's not much to work with here, and I finally figured out what I think it should work, and this can be opened up. But basically I need to get some tile inverters. I got some off of AliExpress, so they should be on the way. I got a couple of options. Basically I need to put some in here. Stay focused. Put some in there, and then I'm going to remove all this gray stuff, and this part just comes out. Let me show you. I'm going to probably have to remove it soon anyways. So all that gray stuff will go, and I'm just going to keep this. And the idea is that it's going to sit on the inverted tile, so that I can do that, because right now I can't be anti-stud to anti-stud, so I need to create studs. So I got to reverse this with some pieces. Will basically add studs on top on this end, I guess, and this will stick on there, and then when this angles up as it should, because of the way this is, it's got an angle to it. You can imagine like, there'll be a layer of the inverter pieces in between, about a tile thickness, and then this will be, if I can do from this angle, see it'll be lower like this, almost with right up like there, and this will kind of, the way it's angled up, it'll kind of just flatten it up, so it should line up pretty close to that, better than it is now. And then I gotta just fill it, this top part with more of these, and that should do it. I think I fit this, you can fit that right on top and angle it up, and it will just hold like that. You'll see when I get to it, but I'm still waiting for those parts. Might be another week or two before they come into for mailing, but that should be the last thing I do, and I think I can call this done once and for all, because I think I did a pretty good job already adding more detail, modifying the engines here. I didn't really do much here. I did do something to get this to all work out in this area, and like glad I did this and added this thing. I think that turned out actually pretty good. Looks pretty close, and I like modifying this, adding this piece in here. What was in there before? Maybe nothing. I think it was nothing, because they didn't take into this area, into account with this build before. So this, and then especially changing this from they had like this spire that kind of stuck out from the middle of this. It just wasn't the right looking shape, and this is a lot closer. It's not exactly where it's supposed to be. It should be somewhat a little bit wider and kind of inset into this, I don't know, cylinder from the rear, but this is the closest I can get, and I think it still looks pretty darn close to the way it basically should look like. And I extended these out as well. I reworked these towers. I redid the engine on the bottom. It didn't have all this detail. It's quite different. Actually, it was lacking still. And of course I reworked this a couple of times, made it way too big. And then I thought about it again, and recently I just reworked it. Now this looks about right. And I did the bridge, like these cannons. I moved them back a stud back there, just too far forward, and added this kind of shape to make the ring. Removed an extra orange piece here. It made the bridge look a little too wide and beefy on the sides. There was this orange top brick or something that was on the side, and I had to make room for it to put this in anyways. So kind of works out a lot better. So quite a bit from where it came, and once I finally finish this, I'll show it with, you know, when everything's done compared to, I guess, the source. Hopefully I can upload just a couple of images to show what it should look like according to what it was seen in movies and whatever reference materials that I've managed to scrounge up, as well as compared to the original looks and design, the way it came out from the kit. And you can see just how many changes and improvements I did. Again, I also even lowered this a bit lower, and of course created my own stand just to make it work and not have like a solid piece, because originally it was only holding on the back, and this is just too much weight up front for it to be hanging. So I wanted to create a support, but I didn't want it to be solid color to just, it just looks weird. It doesn't look good. It's just like a large block of line that just kind of, you know, you just want this to look like it's unobstructed on the bottom. So that's it. So I'm gonna get to this. Probably will be the quickest thing. I got to secure that base bottom part, and then that should basically be done. And then get up here, remove these, and figure out how to just rework that. And yeah, hopefully once I come back after I turn this off, it'll be complete, and or at least with those, minus probably this section, which I'll just have to wait till I get the other parts that I need. Then we'll take it from there.